Hey everyone, how are you? It's been a few weeks since we caught up last and wanted to share how things are going. I had chemo last week. They adjusted the meds and thank goodness, because my side effects have become much more mild. I think I shared that it was impacting my stomach quite a bit to the degree that I was having a hard time even just leaving the house. And those daily walks that I started 3 years ago that my surgical or my surgeon said to me, you need to walk every day. Like that's a solid exercise routine that's gentle enough and it'll keep you healthy and keep you alive. So my walk is really important to me, but the last couple of weeks have been hard to do it because you're not getting as many steps in or not being outside as much. This week has been a bit challenging on the East Coast with all of the cold, the bitter cold. There's only so much time you could be outside till you feel like this is way too cold. So a couple things have progressed forward, and I want to give you guys some updates. I am having a small surgery next week. I remember sharing with you guys last year. I had found out on one of my scans that on my right side and my ureter, it was starting to narrow. We think maybe it got nicked during surgery. The oncologist wanted to make sure that when it narrows, it could close up. And if it does, that right kidney would stop functioning. So the urologist placed a stent in there to keep it open. I have to get that replaced on Tuesday. It's a very short procedure. They knock you out for it. It's a little bit sore afterwards, but nothing too horrific. So that's just part of what we need to do. Chemo will be next Wednesday. And I talked to my oncologist this week. It's the first time I got to talk to her after the second opinions. I think I shared with you guys the second opinions were fine. I mean, I don't think I learned anything dramatically different. One or two things, but nobody had like a new treatment for me or something different. They appreciated my current protocol and care and felt that I was going in the right direction. When I talked to my oncologist this week, she felt that I was my disease is stable. My blood work and my scans is what indicates that. I have some scans coming up and some additional blood work too. So we'll look at those. It's just like another indication to see where things are. But for those reasons, we're in chemo maintenance mode. We're doing a smaller amount of the chemo that I would normally take. A little more gentle versions of it. The big bazooka one, you remember we dropped weeks ago. And it's nice because my hair is actually growing back and starts to feel like me again. And that feels good. I wanted to chat with you guys on kind of what I'm learning right now. In truth, the last 2 months have been emotionally pretty challenging. I think hearing the surgeon, I know I said this to you guys last time, but hearing the surgeon say, and it was his point of view and his opinion, he's entitled to it, if you don't do my surgery, I think you're going to die from this. And my instinct and my gut tells me not to do the surgery because I've done it before. I did it a year ago and cancer came back. This surgery feels like a brutalization of the body without the guarantee that cancer's not going to come back. If in fact it was an absolute and I knew cancer wouldn't come back, I don't know that anything would hold me back. I would ask the questions I need to ask about recovery and how to do it, but I think I'd feel a bit more incentivized to do this. This surgery, I've also come to understand through other points of view that it can be a bit controversial in nature, and not every cancer institution supports the HIPEC. And so, not that it's wrong or anything bad about it, but everybody has their point of view and their own strategies. So in some ways that helps me be supported in my view to maybe pause on that surgery. But the part of this that I want to bring back to the human part of me is I think through most of my life, I've always wanted to, be a good kid, be a good student, be a good member of society, gain the approval of others, including doctors. In these last 4 years of going through all this, I've done everything the doctors have said. And my good friend Deb had given me that beautiful advice early on. She had her own cancer diagnosis and cure. Thank God she's clear now. But one of the things that she shared with me was her surprise that, like, her doctor told her that patients don't follow the doctor's direction, and that was her main thing. So I've been very focused on that. It is also, like, as I started to say, it's also very much part of my personality. I trust those in authority and say, okay, you're in this position, you earned it, and it makes sense, and I'll ask my questions, but are probably right, kind of thing. And I doubted this surgery and had fears about it. But and I had decided I didn't really want to do it. But when I talked to the surgeon before Thanksgiving, and he made that kind of flippant statement, my professional opinion is, if you don't do this, you'll probably die from this. That one little statement for my husband was like almost like a throwaway statement, like it didn't even resonate for him. For me, it was almost like I was told I was going to die. And I've heard other cancer patients say, when doctors give you like so much time to live or tell you you're going to die, like, find a new doctor, because there's always another option out there. But I felt like I was on the end of my life, and yet I was told everything was stable. So why the urgency to get it done in the first quarter? I had to hurry up and decide this, and I was terrified to do it. And I already shared with you guys, like, December was like all about, like, this might be the last time I have Christmas. And I made this decision, as I told you guys a couple weeks ago, that I'm not going to spend this year worrying about dying every single day. Like, no, that is not me. That is not the person I am. I believe in myself. I know I'm a fighter. I'm a healer. Sorry, not fighter, healer. I don't want to fight the disease. I want to heal myself. And there's a big distinction. I don't want to be on opposite ends of my body. My body knows what to do, and I want to listen to my body. But a really critical point here to underline is I gave that statement way too much fucking power. It took over everything. I also think the universe and God always has a plan, and I needed to experience that. Like, what if I did die? That's a logical outcome to stage 4 cancer. And I haven't let myself believe it. I don't want to make it true. I think of myself as a manifester, and I don't want to manifest that. So I think I've just pushed it out of my head. But I think I needed to actually feel it, like, let myself experience it. I don't want this for any of you, but to have a conversation with your partner about what an end of life looks like. Brian and I recently watched a few different shows that showed some people with cancer that were at end of life, and are talking about how, they were given morphine to kind of relieve the pain. It was a little triggering, of course, but it was very comforting too, to know if that ever ends up being the case, I won't be in pain. It's like being a cancer patient. Pain is just like riding in the sidecar with you. And I've handled a lot of it. But it's scary to think when you're if you would get to a point where you're dying, how much pain you must be in. It gave me a lot of comfort to know that if that were to happen at that point, I would also be okay. But again, I let that one man's comment, one person's point of view, not granted, a very talented, smart surgeon, so it's not like some random person off the street, but he really got in my head. I was doing some great spiritual work with my friend Susan, and we talked about 2025 being about a year of living. Like, go out there and live. You know, my sister and I are trying to plan a family trip, and this is the year Brian and I turned 50, and we're trying to do something fun. And I've been like holding off because, like, what if surgery is in March and there's going to be all this recovery? Then I'm not going to pay. Yeah, why would I do that? And having that conversation with Susan's like, you know what? Book the trip. Have fun. Go do the things you want to do. Everything else will fit in. And that was really powerful for me and centering. Our lives are what we make of it. And there's nothing perfect in your life, and there's nothing perfect in mine. Everything has its challenges. Like, I shouldn't say there's nothing perfect, but not everything is perfect, I mean to say. And perfectly imperfect, sure, but all of our lives have things that are challenging in them. We all have fears, money, safety, health, the economy, freaking politics right now, these people being sworn in and what your different feelings are on it. Plenty of stuff out there to be worried about if that's what you want to choose to focus on. And so I'm just sharing these two things with you. One, when someone's words don't feel real to you, you don't have to accept them. Ask questions, do what you got to do, but you don't have to accept it. Or look for other data. Ask other experts. Get a second opinion. And I'm grateful to my dad for encouraging me to do that, and so many of you who also backed up that request too. But I'm still at the place where the surgery isn't my priority. I'm working through just handling day in and day out and figuring out what I have to do right now. Sometimes the fear is so palpable. It's not uncommon for me at 7:30 at night to just start crying, thinking about the impact of all this. I'm so grateful that I have a partner and a friend like Brian who doesn't shush me because he's also afraid. There's not many people strong enough to hear you talk about your own death and hold your hand and look in your eye and say, no matter what, I love you and I'm not going to leave, even if it gets hard. And to all my friends all of you who haven't given up on me, thank you. My office was away this week for a company event. And I can't tell you how sad it was to like not be there, but it's also very refreshing in a way to just go slow and learn. I've learned that over 4 years to appreciate the slow, and I'm grateful for the slow. But it's just so beautiful, and I just want to take a moment and say thank you to all those that I work with that took a moment this week to text me, send me a photo, Slack me, remind me that I was in people's minds and hearts. being in this room, like nonstop. Sometimes it feels like I could be forgotten about. And thank you to all of you. So many of you, Heather, this week and I had a great chat. Like so many of you texting me, Cindy, like just checking in. Sherry, so many of you asking me, like, Shannon, Lori, let's do a lunch. Let's just get together. We'll come see you. My girlfriends from home are planning a weekend. And I've told them, like, I may not be healthy. And they're generously saying, we're just going to come near you. And if you can't join us, we'll come to you. And anyway, so many of you are accommodating me, thinking of me. I just want you to know, in this life, it's nice to be tethered to love. And I'm tethered to so many of you. It strengthens my core, my heart, and my resolve. God bless all of you. Thank you for your love and support. I'm okay, and that's the beautiful thing. Wish you all a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon. Be well now. Love you. Bye.